Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning everyone. My name is Muhammad Huzaili bin Huzman, and I will be the moderator for our forum this morning. Okay, for your information, our forum today we will discuss about the fiscal policy in Islamic economy and the role of zakat. Before I go further about our discussion, let me introduce our panel for our forum for today. Our first panel is Anas Tasnim bin Rosli. Our second panel is Muhammad Sarudin bin Muhammad Razil Stam. Our third panel is Muhammad Ashraf Aiman bin Abdul Hakim. The fourth panel is Muhammad Ashraf bin Mat Nasir. Our fifth panel is Muhammad Afiq Aiman bin Muhammad Razmi. And our last panel is Muhammad Azridin bin Nasir. So without wasting our time, let we proceed for our discussion with our first panel, which is Anas Tasnim bin Rosli.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, thank to our moderator Huzaili bin Huzman. And without wasting time, my name is Anas Tasnim bin Rosli and my number metric is 056148. Before we go further on this discussion, we must know what is fiscal policy in Islamic economic and what are the most important aspects of Islamic economic policy. In Islamic economic, fiscal policy is described as the use of revenue received by the Islamic government and expenditure made to monitor and influence the economy of the Islamic state. Fiscal policy objective in Islamic economy will differ from those in the secular economy. The goal of economic conflict is to increase human welfare. Human welfare in secular economy refer to the achievement of worldly good. In Islamic world, the goal of the achieving welfare does not stop at this world. It extends to the next world as well. Furthermore, the Islamic economy is structured around Islamic economic values. Next, the most essential aspect of Islamic economic policy is zakat, which is a form of worship and one of Islam's fundamental article of faith. In this sense, zakat cannot be considered a tax because its economic impact differ from those of taxes. Allah Almighty has made zakat mandatory. The Holy Quran contains various verses that make zakat mandatory for Muslim. However, its comprehensive rules are revealed to us in Allah Apostle tradition Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The rate of zakat and the amount on which zakat is to be levied are not mentioned in the Holy Quran. This particular can be found in Hadith. The jurists believe that the zakat rates specific in the tradition are unchangeable. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Anas Tasnim, for the good sharing. Next, let we move to our second panel, which is Muhammad Salihuddin. So, my question is, what are zakat impact on the equitability distribution of wealth and the consumption level?
Thank you, Zaili, for the question. So, for me, zakat is a powerful tool to allow for a more equitable distribution of wealth. As we can see, wealth inequality has become a terribly defining aspect of the very terrifying time in which we have been brought to life, and it is only getting worse. So, the institution of zakat is a system by which a community's resources are dispersed to the poor, ensuring that everyone has a minimal quality of living. Islam imposes upon every able Muslim to work for his livelihood. Zakat transfer are only to supplement the incomes of the poor in order to satisfy the minimum requirement for a decent life. Part of the zakat transfer could be a mark for recipients to participate directly and actively in productive economic activities relevant to their capacities. This helps create self-employment and independence in yourself.
Such a nice explanation from Muhammad Salah. So, my second question is there any positive effect you can see and what happened to the consumption in the country?
This strategy will not only help transform present zakat recipient into zakat contributor over time, but also will have a positive multiplier effect on the economy and give them a more comfortable life. As we can see, zakat also can raise the amount of consumption. It is because the marginal propensity to consume among the lower income level is larger than that of the upper income level. A community's consumption level will be boosted by an equitable distribution of income and wealth among its members. The beneficial shift from zakat receivers to zakat contributors would increase domestic aggregate demand. Consumption has a significant impact on countries' economic performance. Healthy consumer spending levels usually indicate a higher level of economic confidence. We can conclude that the people are increasingly willing to spend their money on purchasing, and we can know that the wages are rising.
Thank you, Salahuddin, for the explanation and sharing. Our next panel is Muhammad Ashraf Aiman bin Abdul Hakim. So my question is, how zakat role can help to reduce poverty in our country, Malaysia?
Thank you, Huzaili, for the question. Alright, my answer for the question is the 2020 crisis caused by the outbreak of COVID-19 has caused a massive disruption to economic activity. The National Movement Regulation Ordinance MCO 1.0 and MCO 2.0 declaration aim to minimize the impact on the people and the country, but permanently close businesses, unemployment, insolvency of loan, and you can even meet their basic need hard to meet. In the worst case, the flood of Perak, Pahang, Terengganu and Selangor exacerbated the misery of the affected people due to unwelcome event. Malaysia is expected to face high unemployment, low GDP and increased poverty. But this will put a heavy burden on the government to ensure the well-being of people, especially those under the age of 40 or B40 people. In the Islamic economy, zakat can be defined as an alternative to government support for poor and needy people to meet their financial need. In short, zakat can be described as a Muslim obligatory commitment to some of the property paid to licensed religious center at a rate of 2.5%. The amount of zakat collected will be distributed to eligible asnaf group. However, zakat's role in fight against poverty is often underestimated. Zakat central debate is usually directed at the inability of zakat institution to manage the zakat fund wisely. Zakat potential for harmony with the Islamic economy has not yet been exploited in the current thinking about the zakat system. Considering zakat little study role as a means to combat poverty, especially in the Islamic world. Zakat aid can help alleviate poverty in the Malaysian context. M4. I also will say the zakat role in poverty eradication can be traced back to Al-Qaradawi in 1933 and 1995, which emphasized how zakat can lift the Islamic community of the turmoil of poverty. Later, Muhammad Sabri in 1997 continued his discussion, emphasizing how zakat redistributed wealth and restore social balance in society. Zakat has a clear background as a basis of building a strong Islamic community, especially in relation to ummah socio-economic status. Gamon Tagonaro in 2018 and Nashwan et al. In 2020 said zakat effectiveness as a poverty reduction tool has long been effective because the method used to distribute zakat can meet the needs of asnaf in the form of regular or capital assistance to become an independent individual. It has been proven it has been proven. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashraf Aiman, for the good and clear explanation. So next, let we move to our next panel, which is Muhammad Ashraf. So my question is, what is the national income accounting? So can you explain about what is national income accounting?
Thank you to the moderator. Based on question, what is national income accounting? National income accounting is a bookkeeping system used by government to measure the level of economic activity in their country over time. Data on total revenues earned by domestic firms, wages paid to foreign and domestic workers, and the amount spent on sales and income taxes by corporations and individuals residing in the country are all included in accounting record of this type. The national income accounting system helps countries measure the current standard of living, the distribution of income among the population, and the impact of various economic policies. However, the accuracy of the analysis of national income accounting depends on the data obtained. The most often used measure of aggregate economic activity is the gross domestic product (GDP), which is the monetary value of all manufactured goods and services produced in a country during a particular period. GDP is also a measure of the overall health of the economy and is used to estimate economic size and growth.
Alright, my second question is, what way national income is measured?
Thank you to the moderator for giving me to speak again. Based on question, what ways the national income is measured? The national income is measured in two ways, which are the product approach and the income approach. Both of these methods as the concept that are utilized in the analysis of zakat in relation to national income determination. The product approach assesses and economies current flows of finished goods and services. The flow of factor incomes is used to calculate national income. The earnings of basic variables such as labor, capital, land, and entrepreneurship are totaled. This approach is also known as income distributed approach. This approach calculates national income by adding up consumer, business, government, and foreigner expenditure on currently produced final goods and services. Next, the income approach. The income approach to determining GDP is based on the accounting reality that an economist's total expenditure should match the total revenue earned by the production of all economic goods and services. The income received is classified into three. Number one, wages and salaries. Number two, income from asset wealth. And number three, profits. It is further assumed that the amount of zakat dispersed to the recipients may be less or equal to the zakat fund depending on the economic situation. During the expansion phase of the business cycle, the zakat collection may be more than the zakat disbursement as more people are employed and there would be less eligible zakat recipients, and therefore we will have zakat surplus. During the recessionary phase, we will expect a fall in zakat collection and a rise in zakat disbursement as more people are eligible to receive zakat. This leads to zakat deficit, and this deficit should be covered by the zakat surplus accumulated from previous years. However, zakat disbursement should be at most equal to the zakat fund available. In this case, we have balanced zakat, although the government can discreetly change the amount of zakat to be disbursed. The total disbursed of zakat by the zakat authority in a particular year should be at most equal to the zakat fund available. Zakat deficit. Zakat deficit should be discouraged in Islam as it reflects extravagance, but zakat surplus is encouraged as it reflects thriftiness. I think we all clearly understand how zakat analysis affect national income determination. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Muhammad Ashraf, for the nice explanation. So next, we proceed to the next panel, which is Muhammad Afiq Aiman bin Muhammad Razmi. So my question is, can you explain what do you understand about the aggregate expenditure?
Okay, thank you to our moderator for the question. Okay, what is aggregate expenditure? Okay, the aggregate expenditure is the total of all expenditure made by the elements in the economy over a certain time of period. Okay, AE equal to C plus I plus T plus NX is the equation for the aggregate expenditure. Okay, through each level of income, aggregate expenditure indicates the total amount that enterprise and consumer plan to spend on product and service. Other than that, the aggregate expenditure is one of the technique for calculating the gross domestic product, which is the total amount of all economic activities in a country, which is GDP. When there is an excess of supply compared to spending, price or the quantity of output are reduced, lowering the overall output GDP of the economy. There is excess demand when there is an excess of expenditure over supply, which lead to an increase in price or output, which is higher GDP. The present value of all finished product and service in the economy is referred to as aggregate expenditure in economy. It is the total of all expenditure made by the element in the economy over a given time period. Then, at every level of income, aggregate expenditure indicates the total amount that enterprise and consumer plan to spend on product and service. Okay, in macro consumption in Islamic economy, it was divided into two types. First, muzaki consumption, which is zakat payer, and mustahik consumption, which is recipient of zakat. Okay, this is due to the fact that the marginal propensity to attack the poor is generally greater than the marginal tendency to attack the wealthy. Essentially, a poor man who has no or very little income during this time, or a low-income family which wishes to keep the mentality of following the Jones family, they will feel obligated to devote all of their earning or revenue to the specific objective. This means that zakat distributed in cash for consumption purpose will be spent right away. Zakat recipients will only utilize their zakat money to cover their essential requirement. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Muhammad Afiq Aiman. Lastly, we will proceed to our final discussion. So our panel is Muhammad Azridin bin Hisham. So my question is, can you explain on how the potential of zakat as a major fiscal policy tool in our country, Malaysia, and what conclusion can you draw from this topic?
Thank you to Mr. Huzaili. Zakat's potential as a major fiscal policy tool in Malaysia through non-discretionary and discretionary policies. Zakat contributes to macroeconomic stabilization, building a stabilizer mechanism occur when zakat collection is automatically reduced during a recession, allowing individuals to spend more money and stimulating the economy. Meanwhile, during a boom era, more zakat is collected limiting people's ability to spend, dampening economic activity. These have the effect of reducing macroeconomic swings. The government used discretionary fiscal policy to vary the disbursement of zakat to recipients as needed throughout the business cycle. The government reduced zakat disbursement during the expansion phase of a business cycle to lower collective spending. When the economy is in Islam, zakat disbursement is also boosted to boost aggregate spending. As conclusion, it suggested then that Malaysia must make all trouble to establish zakat as the major tool to get profitable growth. In order to make this a success, we must organize zakat collection and zakat spending in the most effective manner. As long as zakat collection and spending are disorganized, we can no way achieve the eventuality of zakat as an effective financial instrument. Zakat system can play a vital part in supporting sustainable profitable development and easing better fiscal addition. Conceptually, the development of the zakat system can be considered reciprocal to the government programs of poverty relief. A certain position of synchronization with the government program desirable. Still, the current non-supervisory frame for zakat sector must be better so that the operation of the zakat system can be conducted in a more effective way. The government should design programs to strengthen the collection medium and develop a transparent and donor-friendly system for distribution of zakat to profit the indigent people, which can make a positive and significant impact on profitable development both at the micro and macro position.
Thank you to all panel that give a good sharing and explanation. Before I close this forum, I would like to say thank you to our beloved lecturer for giving us this opportunity to present our forum for today. And I would like to say apologize if I had made a mistake during this forum. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.